Drawing in the Franxx will forever be one of my favorite series of all time. I don't see it dropping out of my top 20 anytime soon, and this manga definitely secured the place more. This video is not really going to be a comparison of the manga and anime. It's just mostly going to be my overall feelings and thoughts on the series as a whole. So if you're interested, I guess stick around. Before I start the review, I just wanted to thank everyone for 200 subs. Honestly, I don't really put much effort into this YouTube channel, so I wasn't really expecting to get this far, but I'm truly thankful for where we've gotten, and yeah, thank you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Oh, one more thing before we start, if it looks like I'm reading off a script, it's because I am. I can't remember everything, so I just wrote everything down. So it's going to be looking like I'm reading off a script the whole time, so sorry about that. Drawing in the Franxx is about a group of teens that they believe their only purpose for living is to pilot in the Franxx, aka the mechs, to protect the adults of the world against the Klaxosaurs, who frequently try to attack the places they live, which are called the plantations. To my understanding, the whole reason that the Klaxosaurs attack the plantations is because of the magma energy the plantations use for power. If I'm wrong on that, sorry, I'm not very good at picking up on things, so please correct me if I'm wrong. But anyways, the kids are stripped away from being able to live as normal growing up kids. They aren't taught things that every kid should learn. They don't really know things about life. All they know is that they're here to fight and protect the adults. But yeah, and that makes for some good moments in character development throughout the characters, which I kind of liked. Now I'm gonna get into the pros and cons. First off, the things I liked. I liked how the manga dealt with the main characters. Overall, over the course of the series, each started going through stuff emotionally, which confuses them because, like I said, they were never taught about these feelings or what they mean or how to act upon them. So it's interesting watching each character and have their own experience and how they deal with it and how it affects them, especially the main characters, Hero and Zero Two. And Zero Two obviously knows a lot more things than everyone else. But Hero, he doesn't really know. But I just also really like the chemistry between them. I found myself enjoying learning about each different characters and how they dealt with their interferings, like I already said. I feel they all had some depth to them, which made me like them even more. And as the story goes on, the group's bond strengthens through the battles they fight. Uh, um, and their emotional struggles that they each have to go through, which they can kind of relate on. I feel like the manga did a way better job at developing the different characters as the anime did, because the anime just didn't really go as deep as the manga did. I feel like the manga truly took the different characters and kind of gave them each a little story of their own. In the manga and the anime, from my remembering, didn't really do much of that. Another thing that I need to mention, the involvement of the nines. If I remember correctly, the anime did not have any mention of the nines or what they are or if they're even in the world. And oh gosh, okay. So after recording this video, going back to edit it and include all the images, I just decided to look up if the nines actually were in the anime, and it turns out they were. So somehow I just completely forgot about them and they didn't even come to I guess I just completely forgot that they were even in the anime, and I thought they were completely new in the manga, because I just do not remember them at all. So, yeah. So everything I'm about to say is basically talking about how the manga covers the nines and the anime doesn't, so just disregard everything. Sorry. I should have, done some more digging, but, yeah. The manga, it's like a whole nother storyline, a whole nother group of characters. And I really enjoyed them, honestly. It just added to the really good story that I already knew. I really liked Alpha as a character. I think is dynamic with Zero Two and how they're both the same species, but he's kind of seeing how she's developing, and he's like, why is she doing all these things? He doesn't understand stuff like that. Obviously, if you guys haven't already told, this review is going to contain spoilers. So, if you do not want spoilers, then I guess get off now, because I don't think I haven't really spoiled much yet. But I'm going to. So, the plot in the manga was also way more in depth and way more deep. I feel like the manga went deeper with the backstory of the planet and how the Klaxosaurs came to be the way they are now. which I liked. You know, it's cool getting some more lore behind the main antagonist of the series, which the anime didn't. It gave us some. If I watched this anime over 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, so I don't really remember everything, but this at least refreshed it, and it definitely gave us more depth between behind them, which I liked. Also, the manga did a way better job at showing Hiro and Zeruto's backstory and how they knew each other in the past. Obviously, the anime showed this as well, gave us the whole backstory. But I feel like I found myself a little confused on like the order of things and like basically how that like the time. And I don't know, it just confused me when I saw it in the anime. Maybe I'm just slow. I don't know. So sorry, but still, I feel like the manga did a way better job at showing that part in the story. Uh, and it just made for a really emotional moment when they both finally realized like they knew each other, and then that was, the person that they knew from their childhood when they finally get the memories. And I just think that that moment is really nice in the manga. This brings up my next point. The relationship between Hiro and Zeruto. Now, obviously, in both anime, the relationship is something special. Both forms of the media do a good job of showing that. I don't feel like it's really a problem in either. But I think that I prefer the way the manga did it, as I picked up better on the symbolism in the relationship. To that one bird thing, there was like in the first chapter, the very first thing, like talking about a bird, like it needs another one to fly. They need to work and sink. I don't even know, something like that. It was really cool, like metaphor and symbolism, I guess, which I actually liked. And every now and then they would go back to it and like mention it, and I just thought it was really cool whenever they brought that up, just showing how Zero and Hiroto's relationship, Hiro and Zeruto's relationship kind of connect to that bird. It's like nice symbolism, I feel like. Yeah, and like every moment where that was brought up, it just made for a nice heartfelt moment, and I found myself caring for the relationship more. I think the anime did that. I don't really remember if it did or not, but I remember in a particular scene there was like a bird or something. I don't know. One more pro is definitely the ending. Now, to no one's surprise, the anime ending is heavily hated on by like the entire anime community, and I understand why. It's a bit illogical, uh, and kind of just out of nowhere, and doesn't really make sense on how it happens. Like, you understand like what happens, like what they do, but you don't like how, like what, how does this happen? Like, it's so random, which I understand. But personally, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed, the way that they sacrifice themselves and so that everyone else could live a normal life on Earth. I really enjoyed that ending in the anime. I don't really care if it made sense or not. But that being said, I can admit that the manga ending was objectively better. It was more happy toned and made more sense for the story as an ending, and it wasn't really just out of nowhere. It was bittersweet, and I found myself tearing up reading those final few pages. It was really emotional, and I feel like it fit the story better as an ending. But I still like the anime ending more, just because of that. Just I feel like it's just a better moment. I don't know. I'm a sucker for like when characters sacrifice themselves or die or something like that, and it just really hits. And especially when it shows them being reincarnated as kids and meeting again, that just really hit. And the manga didn't have any of that. But yeah. So that's all for the pros. There's a decent amount, and the pros definitely overweigh the cons. So now for the cons. There definitely aren't as many cons as there are pros, but there are definitely some cons that I need to get out of the way. Just share. First off, let's just get it out of the way. The fan service, the nudity, it's fucking so annoying. I understand why they included it as like a selling point, because obviously they didn't expect the manga to do very well in sales because the anime was so heavily hated on by a lot of people. So I guess they just had all that fan service and nudity in it as like a selling point. Down bad motherfuckers want to buy it to see that. So I understand why they did it, but I just honestly, really annoying, and it kind of ruined the parts of the story for me. Like while reading it, every other chapter there was just nudity, and it just annoyed me because I was like immersed in the story. I was into it, and I was reading it, and then just boom, I see that, and I'm like, what? It just like takes me out of the moment almost, and it just like is annoying. I'm like, it just reminds me like, oh yeah, this is a fan service manga, and it's just like something I don't want to see every chapter. It is what it is, though. But that's definitely a flaw that this story has. Now, next, the fights. Now, this goes for every manga, not just this one. The fights are near impossible to decipher what's happening physically. Like, yeah, the moment, like what's actually happening, like what's happening. But when it comes to like what they're doing in the fight, you don't really understand because it's so hard to follow. but like I said, that goes for every manga. But it's um like for anime, it's animated. You see every, like, you don't have to decipher like what's happening. I just really like the way anime does it more than manga. So I mean, it's not really a flaw with this manga specifically. Just all manga in general, fights are always going to be better in the anime. Like viewing wise, but it's not really a big con. It's just something that like got kind of annoying because while I'm reading the fight, I don't even know what's going on. But I'm reading it. It is what it is. It's fine. One final complaint was the removal of some of the biggest parts that were in the anime. This is probably the biggest complaint for me, as some of those moments in the anime were actually some of my favorite moments in the entire series. They're pretty emotional and just added more to the characters, I feel like. Now, yes, the manga did add more to the characters in the long run, but these specific moments in the anime were big parts of the story that just weren't in the manga. I'm not going to go in depth with each moment. I'm just going to list them off because people who've already seen the series will know what I'm talking about. First off, the marriage of Mitsuru and Kokoro. I think that's their names. I don't know. But that marriage was like really a good moment because they got married, right? And then, if I remember correctly, the government or whoever the fuck erased their memories and basically made them like draw. Like they just completely erased their memories because they're like, nah, we can't have that happening. And that moment was just really sad. And I just think that was a good moment in the anime. Second one, obviously, like I said, the ending, they didn't die. The death of Hero in 02, I really loved in the anime. I liked how they sacrificed themselves, so that the Earth would no longer have any threats. They just went out there, destroyed everything, that the people on Earth, their friends, could just live, and that was really sad to me. And then it obviously showed them being reincarnated as kids. It doesn't really make sense. It's kind of dumb, but it did make for a nice moment. And then obviously the mirror symbolism, this one's like not really as important, but it's just something nice that the anime did. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there's like a mirror in the anime. It's in the manga too, but not really. And it's like there's symbolism between it and 02 or something. I don't really understand it, but I know that there's something. I'll probably look it up and read like what it actually means. But in that anime, it's like kind of important, and it like is focused on a lot more. In the manga, like you see it, but it doesn't really bring it up ever, and nothing really happens with it. And I just really like how the anime did that. Yeah. So those are all the cons. Like I said, there's not that many cons, but there are definitely some that I need to highlight, and there might be more. But like I said, this is just a brief review of my thoughts and feelings after finishing reading it. I'm not gonna like go in depth, super deep on everything in the story. It's just my overall thoughts. So, yeah. Overall, after reading this manga, it definitely solidified its spot in my top 15 even more. Before, it was like still in my top 15. I think it's my 11th or 12th anime, something like that. I don't know. It used to be in like my 9 or 10, and it just slowly keeps dropping. But after reading this, it definitely solidifies it more. And I really don't want to see this ever go out of my top 20 because I truly do love this story. I love the characters. Hero and 02's relationship is one of my favorite relationships in anime and manga, if I'm being honest. And I really love all the characters in the story. The ending was good. There was really good emotional moments, and I just really like it. I do think it's overhated. I think it deserves to be higher rated. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of fan service, which definitely lowers the rating of the manga. Because if there was not fan service in the manga, I guarantee it would have a higher rating. I think it has like a 7 something. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Like I said, I watched this anime over 2.5 years ago, so I don't really remember what happens in the anime. Like, obviously, I remember the big moments and what happens, but I feel like if I rewatch the anime, it'll just give me a refresher, which I definitely plan on rewatching soon. But yeah, and then, like I said, the manga did give me a better understanding of Hero and 02's relationship and like the lore behind it and how they knew each other back then, which just made me love them even more as a couple. And I know this is going to come as a surprise because I've just been glazing over the manga, but I still do like the anime more just because of that ending. That ending is, like, I know the ending is heavily hated on, so it doesn't really make sense, but I truly do love that ending. And I feel like the anime, like, yes, the manga ending was better for the story, and it made more sense, but the anime ending just, I don't know, it's special to me. I don't know why. So, for overall, I think I'm going to give the manga a 9.1 out of 10 and the anime the same rating. I just prefer the anime more, but the series as a whole is a 9.1 for me. Like I said, this review clearly wasn't polished or had much of any effort put into it. I just kind of wrote down in my thoughts on a fucking doc, and that's all. You know, if some parts didn't really make sense what I was trying to explain or get to, then I'm sorry for that. You know, it's kind of hard for me to put those into words, but I tried my best. And if some things were wrong about the story, like, again, I'm sorry. I'm not really smart and I don't really pick up on things very often, so feel free to correct me in the comments if you want to, if something that I didn't pick up on or something that you think is important for me to mention. Sorry, but yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to, you know, subscribe, like the video, whatever. I think I'm going to start doing this more often. Whenever I finish a series that I truly liked, I'll probably end up doing reviews for them. They're probably just going to be reviews like this where I'm just rambling on about my thoughts and feelings. So it's not going to be like an in-depth review of everything that happens. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and thank you for watching.